is a, quote, alarming expansion of federal power. The brief also revealed the deployment in L.A. has been extended to February. California's lawsuit over that deployment is ongoing. The Ninth Circuit will hear arguments in the case tomorrow.
All right, Pam, time is 6:48. The Mega Millions lottery jackpot getting bigger again. Tonight's drawing will be for an estimated $650 million. Nobody's won that jackpot since June. The odds of matching all 6 numbers, about 1 in 290 million. Right now, the current cash option would get you about $304 million. And by the way, you have until 7:45 tonight to buy your Mega Millions ticket.
All right, it's fun, but as your dollars and cents gal, make sure you put a couple of bucks in that 401k before you buy those lottery tickets.
Yeah.
All right, James?
I feel like it's every couple of weeks we're doing a Mega Millions something that we're talking about it, and yet we still haven't won. All right, let's talk about our traffic, get you out of the door this morning. It's pretty slow right now, to be honest with you, in pretty much every direction all over the Bay Area. So if you are headed out the door in the next 30 minutes or so, try to do that a little bit sooner because the roadways are a little bit packed, they're a little bit congested, and they're not moving as fast as we would like them to. Here is a look at our maps through San Pablo, through Richmond, through Berkeley as well. Everything moving along pretty slowly for the most part, and there aren't really too many crashes to report to you. We did find out a little bit more about what's going on here on the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. You see the red in the westbound direction. There was some sort of metal pipe that broke off of a car, and that's in the middle of the roadway. That slowed down things a lot, and there's still some residual slowdowns as a result. There was also a crash just on the, or actually a car fire, looks like what was actually reported, just off of the San Mateo Bridge. That slowed things down for people actually getting onto the bridge headed in the westbound direction. So keep that in mind if that is part of your commute. Things are moving a little slower there. The Bay Bridge Toll Plaza has been slow all morning long. The line is getting a little bit shorter to actually cross. We learned a little bit more about that stall too. It looks like a car just broke down in the middle of the bridge, and that's what's been causing some of the congestion that you see here. But we'll keep an eye on it. We will let you know once it gets a little bit better. Here's a look at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge too to show you how much of a slowdown there is there. 6:50 this morning. Steve Paulson, we'll send it back to you, my friend.
Geez, Donnie Downer today.
Is what it is.
I know.
You know what it's like.
I know. You just call it as you see it. I understand. All right. Yesterday was probably our last warm day for a bit. Napa, Oakland, Redwood City, San Jose, all in the 80s yesterday. Everyone was pretty close here. I mean, even San Francisco was 78, Half Moon Bay was 77. Today, though, we're bringing those temps down a little bit. More so tomorrow, but I think you'll notice a slight cool down. 70-59 in San Francisco after that 78 yesterday, and the fog has come back. There's some on the western edge of the city. 70-54 is average for this time of year. 89, 1929, the record high. 47, 1892, the record low. And look at that record rainfall, 2.06, 1858. That is one long-standing record for the city. 40s, 50s. Yesterday we had a lot more 60s. On the peninsula, 48 Woodside, Menlo Park, Stanford, upper 40s in there. Pacifica, 49. These are much cooler. We had, I think it was 64.5 at Half Moon Bay. Yesterday at this time, now they're 51, Pillar Point 52. Fog has been moving up the coast, taking the Turning Point rays. At Los Altos, 51. Los Altos Hills is 58, though. 20s up in Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. Reno is 30 degrees. Mammoth Lakes is 27. Except for fog, we'll be good to go inland today. Lots of sunshine. That low, though, is on its way. It's going to lead to a rapid cool down, if not late tonight, for sure tomorrow. And could be some hit and miss, splash and dash shower activity. I would think Santa Cruz Mountain, San Jose South, the best bet. That goes through, then that next system coming out of the Gulf of Alaska sure looks like on Saturday will paint us with some rain. Not a lot, but enough where it could put a little dent in your plants. If you're south, I don't think you have to worry about it. But again, it's about San Francisco, Oakland, Concord, North. That looks to be about the line to me. One more warm day inland, not on the coast. They're dealing with a pretty good fog bank over there. Otherwise, it looks good. Temperatures 60s, 70s now by the water, upper 70s, low 80s. Big drop in those temps tomorrow with clouds rolling in and maybe a few showers south. Okay, Thursday, Friday, and then there's your change for Saturday. Sunday night, Monday might see another system clip us.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time now, 6:52 in Santa Clara County, a first-of-its-kind project giving foster youth more than just a place to live. To tell you how the new Parkmore Community Apartments is combining housing with life-changing resources all under one roof. Right now, let's check in with Garcia Michaelia and see what's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour of Mornings on 2. Good morning, Garcia.
Good morning, Dave. Born in San Mateo County, he was considered a child chess prodigy, became a grandmaster at the age of 18. What we know about his death at the age of 29 and how his family is remembering him. Then Alameda County issues a public safety warning after discoveries made in Dublin. Why doctors warn it can lead to highly contagious diseases, including yellow fever. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. Our time is 6:56. Tonight, the Golden State Warriors start their regular season. The Warriors will play the LA Lakers in Los Angeles. Meantime, in San Francisco, the Warriors are hosting a watch party tonight at Thrive City, kicking off the new season. Along with watching the game on the big screen, there'll also be live music, outdoor games, photo opportunities, and giveaways. The pregame starts at 5:30. The game starts at 7 p.m. In Santa Clara County, there's a new project designed to give foster youth the resources they need to be successful. It's the Parkmore Community Apartments. It gives people in the foster system a place to live and the resources to set them up for success later in life. It combines services with dedicated housing, all in a new single location. All of it was co-founded by a man who also went through that system and knows what it's like to be homeless.
But if it wasn't for housing, I wouldn't have had anything. All the grief and trauma that I've been through my life, like the violence that I've been through my life, I wouldn't have been able to overcome that without stable housing.
Now, inside the hub on the ground level, services include mental health, legal aid, parenting classes, a tech lab, workspaces, and educational programs. It now directly serves about 300 foster youth every month. The total project cost is about $79 million. About a quarter of that comes from Measure A funding, which was approved by voters back in 2016. Well, the national life expectancy is bouncing back towards pre-pandemic levels after those big drops during the height of COVID-19. But there's a much more disturbing trend that's just beneath the surface. Overall, humans are living almost 20 years longer than we did back in the 1950s. But an emerging crisis of rising death rates among adolescents and young adults, that is raising concerns among medical professionals. Earlier this morning, we talked to Fox Medical Team's Dr. Mike about what's driving this alarming trend.
Lots of cancers are not screened. About 70%. You know, we do our mammograms and colonoscopies and all of that. But wouldn't it be great if there was a blood test that could find not only cancers like stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, find it early and have it be accurate? And so that's where we're headed with this. And this study looking at Gallery, which is one of a number of these types of tests, is available, not cheap, not covered by insurance, but something that I think is going to be coming down the road to a doctor's office, healthcare provider's office near you.
And researchers also say many of the deaths were preventable, including ones linked to suicide, drugs, and alcohol.
Palo Alto adopts new rules against recreational vehicles parked on the streets for hours. The city's solution to a rise in complaints about RVs that are used as housing. Plus,
way out, a guy just starts punching her in the face and just constantly yelling keys and just punching her.
a local woman badly beaten on her way home. What her aunt says about the unprovoked attack. Then he became a chess grandmaster at the age of 18. His family is now talking about his unexpected death. What we know about a young Bay Area man who was known around the world.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Garcia Michaelian.
And good morning, I'm Dave Clark. It's Tuesday morning. It's October 21st. Good morning, Garcia.
Good to be next to you.
Good to see you, too. I hope we're going to see some nice weather today.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, come on now. We get one more day, right?
One more day.
Okay.
One more.
Then tomorrow we'll have changes. All right. Just like that, I painted you a pretty picture right here. I had to find that certain sunburst orange, but there it is. We do have clear skies, except on the coast. Fog has returned there, so 40s and 50s. Palo Alto 49, Santa Rosa 48, the city at 59. Normal low this time of year is 54. So 80s yesterday, almost across the board here. Upper 70s, 80s. Today, though, a little cooler here. Still nice, still above average, but we are starting to see a little change as fog roars back to the coast, and that low there tomorrow will really give us a big cool down. But one more warm day inland. Bayside will be good, just coast dealing with some fog, and it's taking the turn past Point Reyes now. But it looks nice if you're inland. Coast and the city, I think it'll be a little cooler. Inland, upper 70s to near 80. James Torres is here. He could probably do 5 minutes, but we'll only give him 1 minute, and he wants to start with the what?
I'm not even sure I have the full minute either, and plenty to talk about this morning. Let's take you out into the East Bay here, especially if you're about to hop on the San Mateo Bridge, because there's a lot of backup in both directions leading up to the bridge itself. There's a crash, there's a car fire, there's a stalled car, and then that's causing some backups on the actual bridge itself if you're going westbound into San Mateo. So lots going on there in that direction. Again, if you are headed out the door the next 30 minutes, try to do that sooner than later, because you are going to have a little bit of a slowdown, a slow start to your day. We've been keeping our eye on the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza because that has been fluctuating a little bit with traffic more often than not in the wrong direction. So we've seen quite a bit of a backup here for more than an hour now, and that's only going to grow as the morning goes on. So we'll keep an eye on all things happening in terms of traffic, and whenever we get some of those accidents early on, they seem to go away pretty quickly, but some of the residual traffic still seems to linger. 7:01. We'll go back to Gassia on the desk.
James, thank you. A crucial vote in Palo Alto last night concerning recreational vehicles. People who live there say they're fed up with the number of RVs and the state of the RVs. KTVU's Tori Gaines live this morning from Palo Alto with what was being discussed.
Good morning, Gassia. Yeah, we see RV living pretty consistently across all parts of the Bay Area due to the high housing prices we have here. Of course, some of the highest in the nation. Many of us know that. We're paying these prices ourselves. But we are standing less than 2 miles away from Stanford University, where neighbors say the RV situation has become quite dire. Now, last night, the Palo Alto City Council voted unanimously to move forward with some key changes in the city. The first will be an ordinance to prohibit parking of inoperable vehicles on public streets. They also want to take steps to keep what they call van lords from renting out public parking spaces. Now, ahead of the vote, community members detailed the unsanitary conditions that have been arising due to these RVs in the neighborhoods and what their concerns are about what an increased RV presence would bring into the city even when the new changes take place. Take a listen.
My greatest fear is that the proposal is equivalent to putting up billboards up and down Highway 101, inviting people to move to Palo Alto, where they will receive quote unquote enhanced services, street cleaning, sanitation, hygiene, police and fire protection, and all of the rest, best of all at no cost. And by the way, park wherever you want, because we're not going to be able to enforce it.
Now, along with the changes to parking rules, the city is also planning to create new pathways for authorized parking as well as housing opportunities for those who are living in RVs within this community. Now, guys, even though this vote passed last night, it could still be months before we see any of these changes implemented. Now, coming up at 8, we're going to hear from one city council member on why he says he thinks Stanford University should be playing a bigger role in this story. We're live this morning from Palo Alto. Tori Gaines, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Tori, thank you. Time now 7:04 in Daly City. A woman now recovering from what her family says was an unprovoked attack while she was on her way home from work. Nicole Malouf had just finished her work shift last week when she stopped by a 24-hour Nation's burger shop at Westlake Shopping Center about 11:30 p.m. Thursday night. That's when she says a man started punching her over and over and then ran away. The police arrived and Nicole was rushed to the hospital.
I know she's a little scared. You know, even when I was at the hospital with her, she says to me, she goes, Auntie Trey, she goes, I'm glad you're here. I go, yeah, there's no way I wouldn't be. And she says, you know, I really wish my mom was here.
Nicole suffered many injuries, including she can't open her eye, she has a swollen chin, and more injuries. Police say they have arrested a suspect. Now, the victim just graduated from culinary school earlier this month. She does not have health insurance. Her family has since started a GoFundMe page to help pay for her medical recovery.
Happening today, people in the South Bay plan to protest outside the Santa Clara County main jail. The group is urging the Board of Supervisors to reject a plan by the Sheriff's Department to arm all deputies with tasers. This consideration comes after a 6-month pilot program armed some deputies in the jail with tasers. Civil rights activists argue that tasers could end up being used on people with mental health issues.
Well, Alameda County's public health agencies are urging the public take precautions after an invasive mosquito was found in Dublin. It's called the Aedes aegypti mosquito, a bug that's not native to California and can transmit diseases like Zika and yellow fever. County employees are going door to door in the Dublin area where the mosquito was found, warning people about the danger. They're also advising dump out any sitting water around the home where these bugs often breed.
There is still no word about the cause of death for a 29-year-old chess grandmaster who grew up in the Bay Area. Daniel Naroditsky was born in San Mateo, graduated from Stanford. He was considered a child prodigy and declared a chess grandmaster at the age of 18. He'd been living and training in North Carolina. His family announced on social media Monday that he died unexpectedly, saying in part, Daniel was a talented chess player, commentator, and educator, and a cherished member of the chess community, admired and respected by fans and players around the world.
Well, a town hall meeting was held last night by the Vallejo City Unified School District to hear from teachers and community members about plans to close or consolidate schools. 7 schools may be closed as the school district faces declining enrollment and a budget deficit that keeps getting bigger. However, one longtime Vallejo teacher fears there'll be chaos in the classrooms if these cuts are made.
I've been at 6 different school sites with this district. I have survived the school's closure. I have survived consolidation. I have been reduction in force 7 or 8 times. Okay, maybe only 6 or 7. I have been transferred because of those things.
Now, many parents who were at last night's town hall meeting had the same concerns. The Vallejo School Board is expected to announce decisions by December, and the plans to close or consolidate schools would not begin until the 2026-2027 academic year.
An Oakland father continues his legacy of spreading hope following his daughter's death. Donald Lacey led a candlelight vigil last night in honor of 16-year-old Louise Lacey. His daughter was killed in a shooting on that corner 28 years ago. Louise means love life in a Nigerian language. The city adopted the phrase as its official motto in 2016. He told us he's carrying on his daughter's desire to bring peace to the world with a foundation for at-risk youth.
In 28 years of doing this work, I've met so many incredible young black children who've gone on to be adults, who've gone on to graduate from college, to go on and have careers, their own businesses. So I feel blessed that my daughter's spirit has started this movement in the city of Oakland.
City leaders also announced Love Life Week will include events such as a community cleanup and a forum on violence against women.
Love Life Week reminds us that even in times of struggle, Oakland's greatest strength is our resilience. And it's that same resilience that I felt in my own life that helped me get through losing both of my parents. Oakland has shown me how love and community can help heal heartbreak.
There's also a comedy jam on Saturday. Louise's father says she loved to laugh.
Our time now 7:09. PG&E starting to remove a large transmission tower in San Francisco, clearing the way for a brand new park along the city's waterfront. Now, the tower sits at the entrance of the India Basin Shoreline Park, which is under construction. It's due to become a major part of the wider India Basin Waterfront Park project. City officials say taking down that structure is a step towards renewing the surrounding Hunters Point community.
Lest that tower came down, this park project could not exist. What is there is almost the Eiffel Tower of environmental injustice. It is a symbol of generations of really regrettable decisions that San Francisco has made.
Now, once it's completed, the 10-acre waterfront park will feature a restored shoreline, winding trails, fishing and boating access, new playgrounds, and sweeping views of the bay.
At 7:10 this morning, I have good news and bad news. We'll start with the good news here and show you Highway 4 that's moving along perfectly fine. The westbound lane moving a little slowly, but look how beautiful that sky looks. We're getting that nice early morning sunrise glow. And that is pretty much the only bit of good news that we can offer you in terms of traffic. We got quite a bit of slowdown pretty much everywhere else, including both the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge and the Bay Bridge. Both have some sort of stall right in the middle of the bridge, and that's causing some traffic each in the westbound directions there. Some pretty big slowdowns along 580 going from Richmond down to Emeryville, too. For the most part, most of the East Bay is seeing a lot of red, but down the peninsula through San Mateo, Redwood City, and Palo Alto, not too much to worry about if you're going up and down 280 and 101. So maybe I did have a little bit more of good news to offer you. The Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, here's a live look at it right now. Brake lights are still on, cars barely moving, and a live look at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, pretty much the same deal there. 7:11. We'll go back to Dave on the desk.
All right, James, thank you. Well, a teenager in Sonoma is thanking a special medical team at Stanford for saving the life of her mother. Now this high school student is using her talents in raising livestock to give back.
Promoting the benefits of the Affordable Care Act, how local congressional Democrats are pressuring the GOP during the 3-week-long government shutdown.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some stories we're following at 7:15. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel trying to stabilize the ceasefire deal made for Gaza a few weeks ago. The Vice President and Second Lady Usha Vance arrived today at Ben Gurion Airport. The visit part of a push by the Trump administration to begin talks for a long-term plan to end the war between Israel and Hamas. French investigators are racing to find priceless jewels stolen from the Louvre Museum this weekend. Art experts say the 9 items could easily be taken apart, the metal melted down, the gems recut and sold. There are more than 60 investigators on the case. Prosecutors say the team of thieves left behind some clues at the museum, including a bottle of liquid, a vest, and some other equipment. All are being analyzed for DNA. The government shutdown has now lasted 3 full weeks. We give you a live look here inside the chamber. Senate Majority Leader John Thune was just speaking a minute ago. Today, congressional Republicans plan to meet with the president to discuss their options. Thune says they'll talk about the Democrats' demand for more subsidies for the Affordable Care Act.
Our time now 7:15. Democratic lawmakers in the South Bay warn the government shutdown could lead to a health care crisis in California. They say hundreds of thousands of people who get their insurance through the Affordable Care Act or Covered California will see skyrocketing premiums if the shutdown continues much longer. They hope one of the longest shutdowns in American history will be ending soon.
I've had conversations with more than a dozen Republicans in the last few days. I understand that some of them do want to see this tax credit extended. So let's figure out how we can get there.
Those lawmakers also remind everyone open enrollment for Covered California starts November 1st and runs through January 31st. Well, a local teenager raised more than $10,000 for a special research team at Stanford that helped save the life of her mother. KTVU's Andre Sr. is in the studio to tell us his story. It's a story of hope and gratitude, Andre.
Yeah, Dave. Lonnie DeLorfis is a senior at Sonoma Valley High School. She's also a member of the Future Farmers of America and has been raising livestock for the past few years. And now she's using her talents to thank the people who saved her mother. Now, back in 2023, her mother, Rebecca, started seeing strange symptoms. Originally, she chalked it up to stress, but after getting it checked out, doctors learned she had a benign brain tumor the size of a golf ball.
September 23, started noticing hearing loss, some facial issues, and wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I'm busy. I'm a mom. I just kind of like brushed it off.
So after a 12-hour surgery at Stanford performed by Dr. Stankovic and 9 months of physical therapy and treatments, Rebecca is finally feeling next to normal, and her daughter wants to return that favor. Now, after selling off her prized steer at the Sonoma County Fair, Lonnie donated $10,000 to the research team at Stanford who helped her mother. She says she wants to make sure others get the same care that her mother did.
She's the person who made sure my mom is still here today. I wanted to make sure other people could have their moms and see their mom grow old with them in the same way that I get to now.
So that steer ended up selling well above market value after buyers learned about Lonnie's case. Lonnie says seeing her mom's face at the auction after she accomplished her goal made it all worth it. DeLorfis hopes to study veterinary medicine in the future. She'll be presenting the check with her mom to Stanford researchers, and that is going to be happening next week. Garcia.
Incredible work, Andre. Thank you. 7:18. Let's get out to the traffic center, see what James is keeping an eye on this morning.
Yeah, we just keep getting more small accidents popping up all over the place here. I'll show you our traffic maps. For the most part, the East Bay is taking the brunt of it. 880 has been a problem all morning long. We've seen that move along pretty slowly, both in the north and southbound directions, and you can see the icons that are floating right there near the San Mateo Bridge. If you're going westbound, you're going to see quite a bit of a slowdown there. I do want to keep showing you the cameras that show our bridges, because the bridges have also been slow all morning. Typically, it's about right now when the traffic starts to build up, but this Tuesday morning, not sure what it's all about, but we have some stalls in the middle of the bridge that is creating this large bit of backup, and it's the same deal at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. All of it moving along pretty slowly. Again, if you're going up and down San Francisco and up and down the peninsula, 280 and 101, not really having the same issue, so that is moving along freely. It's mostly there from the East Bay headed over westbound. That's when you're going to run into some trouble, into some slowdown. So keep that in mind as you head out the door this morning. 7:19, let's bring in Steve Paulson and talk about one more hot day.
Kind of warm. Kind of warm. Yeah, no, but above average, no doubt. Thanks, James. 40s, 50s on the temps. We're losing that offshore breeze here. So there's still a few. I mean, the city's 59, SFO 59, but much cooler here for many. 46, Boulder Creek, Felton 47. Fog has been moving up the coast. So Santa Cruz 53, Hollister's 47, right at 50 for Santa Clara and also Gilroy, Scotts Valley, SoCal, upper 40s, 20s up in the mountains, Reno's at 30, Alturas 2 bits there, Mammoth Lake's at 27. We're good to go, except fog, though. There's a lot of it. Again, though, it's the bases are shallow. It still runs into a little bit of resistance, but there's a lot more today than yesterday when coast was clear. That low is on its way. Central California, I think it's more going to be about cooling and picking up the breeze. Maybe some drizzle. I'd be surprised any rain. There could be a little bit, mainly south. More likely it'll be down towards Monterey is the way it looks. And then another system we're watching coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. You know, I've been trying to draw the line around Marin County, San Pablo Bay North, but it looks like San Francisco, Oakland, Concord North on Saturday. It's just, you know, a couple of forecast miles are kind of dry. The majority, though, do draw the line around there. One more warm day. Some coast fog moving up the coast. Otherwise, temperatures 60s, 70s, and then some upper 70s to near 80 inland, but a big drop in those temps tomorrow. A little bit better Thursday, Friday, then clouds with some rain moving in on Saturday.
Steve, thank you. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie again responding to President Trump's threat to send the National Guard into his city. Which federal agencies the mayor says he would welcome help from in San Francisco.
And for the 49ers, another day, another key player is hurt. Why the concerns about the 49ers pass rush just became even more intense.
A gorgeous look here at the Pacifica Pier right there at Sharp Park Beach. In case you haven't been to the San Mateo County coast, this is your live look now. Lots of gray clouds up above. Bit of a breeze, as we can tell from those flags that are blowing. Our Steve Paulson is very busy dialing in a pretty decent change that comes after today, so we'll bring him in just a second for a look at the second half of this week. Happening today, California's Secretary of State will host a virtual meeting to discuss our state's updated plan for the special election, now just 2 weeks away. Ballots are already being returned across the state. Secretary of State Shirley Weber says employees at election offices are working around the clock, so they're ready for the count on November 4th. She says they're making sure that voting for Proposition 50 is safe, secure, and easy for everyone in California eligible to cast a ballot.
Well, Garcia, the political battle heating up for next month's special election here in California. Dozens of people who are opposed to Prop 50 drove through the streets of Campbell yesterday before going to a rally. Prop 50 is the only measure on the statewide ballot. It would redraw California's congressional maps in an effort to secure 5 more House seats for Democrats.
50 passes, which I hope it doesn't. We're going to fight till the end. We may lose the battle with California, but not necessarily the war.
Republicans feel like there's really no representation. It's a one-party state. They have a supermajority. They can pass anything they want. So we feel largely ignored because of the way the political system is here.
Now, supporters of Prop 50 say the ballot measure is designed to counter similar map redrawing efforts benefiting Republicans in Texas. Yesterday was a deadline for people in California to register to vote in next month's special election. Well, the Warriors game, they're going to tip off the season tonight in Los Angeles, but the Warriors will also be hosting a big party here at home. We'll tell you how you can gather to celebrate the start of the new season with other fans.
We have new information on the death of former NFL All-Pro Doug Martin. What OPD now says about his mother's call to 911 that ended with Martin's death in police custody.
Good morning. The pushback continues against President Trump's threat to send the National Guard into San Francisco. We'll tell you why Mayor Daniel Lurie insists federal troops are not needed. And Super Bowl 60, the FIFA World Cup, March Madness. This morning, we're going to hear the game plan about how the Bay Area plans to host some of the world's biggest sports events.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
I'm Gassia Michaeli, and we hope you're having a good Tuesday, October 21st. If you like the warm weather, as I do, we have one more day of this, and then a big change everyone else will like, Steve.
Yesterday was nice, though, right?
Yeah.
You know, low 80s, almost across the board, upper 70s here. We'll get a change tomorrow. There's an upper low west-southwest LA. It's beginning to make its move. Fog is already increasing on the coast here, but it'll be nice inland to warm, but not as warm as yesterday. And I think there's just too much fog on the coast here. We're going to lose that offshore breeze later today, and I'll show you why. We'll go along the 80 corridor here, okay? El Sobrante, Pinole, Hercules, Crockett, Vallejo. Up to 2 o'clock, that's an east wind. All right, now watch, around 4 o'clock. Oof, just turned west-southwest. So by 4 o'clock, I think that sea breeze kicks in, and then it'll carry us not only tonight, but also into tomorrow. But by 2 o'clock, I mean, I think we get some nice warm temps, but then they'll drop fast, and tomorrow we'll get a big drop on those temps here. So one more nice day, warm day, although there's a lot of fog on or near the coast. But inland, it'll be a clear day and nice. Temperatures a little tricky when that fog comes back, but we'll go 70s to near 80. James Torres is here. A bridge, a freeway, both? What?
How did you know? We love a guy who listens. No, really, you could guess anywhere, just about anywhere, because we have some slowdowns pretty much on every freeway and bridge in the Bay Area here. Here's a live look at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. It's actually gotten a lot better in the last 30 minutes here. We had cars that were practically not moving at one point. Maybe we'll get to that point again in a little bit, but we see the traffic flow moving along just fine, at least at this point. So that's good news this morning. And here is a look over at 880, just passing the Coliseum. Not sure why that says the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, but that's the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. That hasn't gone that much better yet. Still a little bit slow if you're going from the East Bay into San Francisco. 7:31. We'll go back to Dave on the desk.
All right, James, thank you. Well, happening now, the San Jose Chamber of Commerce and the Bay Area Host Committee are meeting. They're talking about the global impacts of hosting the Super Bowl and the FIFA World Cup, two big events that will take place next year. KTVU's Devin Truby joining us live from San Jose with much more on this. Good morning, Devin.
Yes, good morning, Dave. No other region has hosted back-to-back events like this, and there are so many more. Of course, we have the National Women's Soccer League Championship coming up here in November, followed by Super Bowl 60 in February, NCAA March Madness, of course, in March. It's in the title. And then we have the FIFA World Cup kicking off in June and July for us. For now, we're also talking about the global impacts for the Bay Area being on the world stage, but also some important infrastructure updates that'll be needed. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was in San Francisco in September to raise a Super Bowl flag and meet with the host committee then as well.
The kind of impact that will happen here beyond the economics is talking about all the great things that are happening in the Bay Area. And that's what we're excited about doing, sharing our game, using our game to unite the country and the world.
While the game will be held at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, there will also be events in San Francisco. The commissioner also announced the Super Bowl's first Innovation Summit, which will be held at San Francisco MoMA, and that'll be 2 days before the big game. We are just moments away from hearing from the San Jose president of the Chamber of Commerce. We'll bring you live updates as the event continues to unfold. Reporting live in San Jose, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Devin, thank you. An update now on the unexpected death of former NFL running back Doug Martin in Oakland this weekend. Oakland police now say Martin broke into his neighbor's home early Saturday morning in the Chabot Park neighborhood in the hills above the zoo. The homeowner called police. We have also learned Martin's mother called 911, saying her son was experiencing a medical emergency. Officers found Martin inside his neighbor's home before getting into a struggle. Sources tell KTVU that Martin became unresponsive in the back of a police car. He was taken to a hospital where he died. A neighbor says she was shocked to learn Martin was a former NFL player.
This makes it, more tragic that someone who has a successful career and is a mentor in a mentor's position.
Martin's family released a statement that said he'd battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Martin played in the NFL for several years, finishing his career with the Oakland Raiders in the 2018-2019 season.
Our time now, 7:34. Vice President J.D. Vance arrived today in Israel to meet with Israeli leaders. It's the latest efforts from the Trump administration to make sure the fragile ceasefire deal in Gaza continues. Now, the truce is already under a lot of strain, but the visit of Vance is meant to be a warning to the two countries. Both countries say they're committed to the deal, even though there have been violence in the past few days.
Happening today, Senate Republicans will meet with President Trump to discuss the federal government shutdown. The meeting comes one day after Senate Democrats rejected Republican short-term spending bill for the 11th time. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says his conversation with the president today will focus on the Democrats' demand for more subsidies for Obamacare, the main issue in the shutdown.
I'm happy to have the conversation about the unaffordability of Obamacare and what we might be able to do to fix that. But you can't do that while the government is being held hostage.
Democratic leaders are urging President Trump to play a far more aggressive role in ending the shutdown. They say the president needs to convince Republican leaders to cut a deal to reopen the government. Meanwhile, several Head Start programs are at risk of shutting down if the federal government doesn't reopen soon. The early education program serves low-income families, is almost entirely funded by the federal government. New grants are now on hold. Some child care centers have already missed payments on October 1st. More than 130 others could lose funding by November 1st, potentially impacting more than 65,000 children nationwide, including some here in the Bay Area.
Our time is 7:36. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie still pushing back on President Trump's threat to send in National Guard troops to San Francisco. It comes after President Trump again said in an interview over the weekend, even suggesting he could invoke the Insurrection Act if needed. Mayor Lurie issued a long statement on social media, and though he never mentioned the president's name, he made it clear he does not want federal troops patrolling San Francisco's streets.
To continue getting fentanyl off the street, we would welcome stronger coordination with the FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. Attorney to execute targeted operations to arrest drug dealers and to disrupt markets and multinational cartels. But the National Guard does not have the authority to arrest drug dealers, and sending them to San Francisco will do nothing to get fentanyl off the streets, nor will it make our city safer.
Now, recent data from the city shows overall crime is down in San Francisco. The homicide rate is approaching its lowest level since the 1950s. Meantime, a federal appeals court cleared the way for President Trump to send in National Guard troops across Oregon. The Ninth Circuit panel lifted a lower court ruling that had blocked that move, saying judges have to give great deference to the president's decision on national security. The governor of Oregon and the attorney general called the ruling dangerous and warned it gives the president unchecked power to send troops into the state.
California is taking legal action to support Illinois in its battle over the National Guard. Governor Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta are filing an amicus brief in the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing the deployment of federal troops to Los Angeles that began in June is an alarming expansion of federal power. The brief also revealed the deployment in L.A. has been extended to February. California's lawsuit over that deployment is ongoing. The Ninth Circuit Court will hear arguments tomorrow in that case.
All right, Garcia, time is 7:38. Right back to James Torres. What's the latest in our commute?
Yeah, still slow for the most part all the way around. So this is going to be one of those days where you want to get out on the road a lot earlier than you may already plan. Here's a live look at the East Bay, the East Shore Freeway, rather. Looking pretty smooth for the most part. You see congestion on the westbound side, moving with a lot more cars on the roadway. And that's pretty much what you're looking at all across the board. Some places a little slower than others. The Golden Gate Bridge, real easy this morning. I'd show you this camera shot because it's just really pretty. You see the fog that is building up just off of the bay, barely touching the bridge itself. Not too much to worry about if you're going from San Francisco and up and down into the North Bay. The Richmond-San Rafael Bridge looking so much better than it did about an hour ago. Traffic moving along for the most part just fine. The Bay Bridge Toll Plaza still has a little bit of a backup here. We're keeping an eye on that. A couple of accidents to report to you throughout the East Bay that's causing some other slowdowns, but for the most part, we're dealing with exactly what you might expect at just a few minutes shy of the 8 o'clock hour. 7:39 to be exact. We'll bring in Steve Paulson to talk about the weather today.
When the fog is below the span, that's about as low as it goes.
Nice.
Seriously.
It's a pretty shot, too.
It's a pretty shot, but that, I mean, that tells you how low it is when it's below the span on the Golden Gate. All right, yesterday, though, oh, my gosh, it was just
I was
weather
singing your
heaven.
praises. Yeah.
San Jose, Redwood City, 83. Napa, Santa Rosa. I use Santa Rosa in town. I don't use the airport. 82. Oakland, 82. Livermore, Concord, 81. And San Rafael was also 81 degrees. Napa, Oakland, Redwood City, San Jose, 80s today. 70s to near 80. I think we're coming down a little bit. There's a much bigger fog bank out there. The city was 78. We'll go 70, 59, average 70, 54. The records, 89, 1929, 47, 1892. Hal, our producer, look at that. 2.06 on this date in 1858. That is one long-standing record. The surface wind is still slightly offshore, slightly east-northeast. Yet look at at 5,000 feet, 850 millibars, it's southerly. And because of that, the fog is coming back in a big way, although the bases are right down on the deck. The 80 corridor, El Sobrante, Pinole, Hercules, to Crockett, to Vallejo, that's all an east wind up until 2 o'clock. Watch what happens afterwards. Oops, just turned west-southwest at 4. So there you go. We'll peak out on the temps around 2, and I guarantee you by 4 or 5 o'clock, those temps will come tumbling down, and tomorrow will be significantly cooler with a strong onshore breeze. That's the fog moving up the coast, about ready to make the move onto the Sonoma coast here. But again, unless you're on the coast, you probably can't see it. 40s, 50s on the temps. We are running cooler than yesterday at this time. A lot of 50s here, although Bodega Bay is 60, 39 Upper Lake, 61 Canocti. My goodness, you don't see that all the time. 47 Novato, Fairfax, Sonoma's in there. A lot of 50s in there. Lima Valley down to 43. 20s up in the mountains, including Tahoe, Truckee, and Minden in there. 32 in Reno. Fog on the coast, otherwise sunny, nice. That's the source of our fog increase and the cool down for tomorrow. And I think, again, I'm saying about Santa Cruz Mountain, San Jose South, could get a scattered shower or two. I really think it'll be down towards Monterey, but it will be a big cool down. And strong system coming out of the Gulf of Alaska will paint some rain for us on Saturday. By far and away, the heaviest amounts will be north, but I do think we'll get some here locally. Not a lot, but enough to maybe ruin your plans. But one more nice day, warm day, at least inland, not on the coast where they're dealing with fog now. 60s, 70s to near 80. Tomorrow, much cooler as temps come down. Little rebound Thursday, Friday, then here comes Saturday into Sunday for a big change.
Thank you, Steve. It is now 7:42 as the San Jose Chamber of Commerce and the Bay Area Host Committee are meeting to discuss the global impact of hosting the Super Bowl and FIFA World Cup matches next year. We'd like to hear from you about all that's coming to our regions.
It's a lot. So let's go over to Andre Sr. He's right here with our viewer poll of the day.
Everyone's asking for a spot in my place when they come for town for everything. All right, this morning we're asking, do you plan to take part in the Super Bowl and World Cup event? Here are your options. Can't wait. Not for me. 73% of you say not for me. 27% of you say can't wait. Go to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think.
Going to get the old sleeper sofa ready, right?
It's ready to go, and blow-up mattress.
Right.
I should start charging.
There you could,
Make
right?
some extra money. Yeah,
I think some people might be doing just that.
All right, as we go to break, take one more look at that poll, and you can scan the QR code. It's in the top right corner of your screen. It'll take you to our poll.
7:45, some of the stories we're following here. Atlanta police are crediting a family's quick thinking with helping to thwart a possible mass shooting. This is body camera video that shows officers arresting a man Monday morning inside Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. His family tipped off police that he was streaming on social media, said that he was heading to the airport to, quote, shoot it up. The law enforcement certification of former San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus is suspended. The Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training cited her removal amid allegations of abuse of power. San Mateo County supervisors removed her from office last week. A retired judge reviewing the case determined Corpus had a conflict of interest with her former chief of staff and retaliated against staffers.
Well, the Palo Alto City Council decided to move ahead with a plan to restrict RV parking on city streets. Several council members pointed to a big surge in people living in recreational vehicles. A $6.5 million plan calls for aggressive street cleaning and making it illegal to rent out a public parking space for an RV. And that proposal would create more safe parking spaces for people living in RVs.
A new report shows that ABC may have paid a steep price for temporarily suspending Jimmy Kimmel.
And Pam Cook is here now with those details. Also some good news, Pam, about some well-known American companies in dollars and cents.
Some good earnings reports coming in. That is definitely helping the Dow this morning. General Motors earnings beat analysts' expectations. The car maker raised its expectations for profits for the entire year as well. GM says it still sees electric vehicles as a growth area long term. It's working on more efficient batteries and EVs with a look and price that will attract more buyers. As that opening bell rang this morning, GM stock jumped close to 11%. Coca-Cola also in with good earnings, and it is one of the 30 stocks in the Dow Jones Index. As we take you live now to the big board, there's the Dow up a little more than 0.5%, 238 points. The S&P 500 up just barely. The Nasdaq posting a little bit of a loss, though, this morning. At this hour, it's down about 0.25%. South Bay tech company Bill.com revealed plans for new rounds of job cuts that are poised to displace dozens of local workers. According to a warning notice the company sent to the State Employment Development Department, Bill is cutting more than 80 jobs at the company's headquarters in North San Jose. The layoffs are expected to take effect in the first weeks of December. It looks like late-night host Jimmy Kimmel's suspension from ABC prompted millions of canceled subscriptions. According to the analytics firm Antenna, Disney Plus and Hulu saw twice as many cancellations as usual in September. More than 7 million customers canceled in total. However, customers do not have to say why they canceled. And Starbucks is bringing back one of its most popular promotions. Starbucks announced its annual Red Cup Day will be November 13th. Customers can get a free, reusable holiday cup with the purchase of a holiday drink. Starbucks says it will have extra baristas in store that day to provide a better experience with the crowds. The holiday cup will be available until supplies last. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
All right, Pam, thank you. Time 7:49. The 49ers already pretty banged up. Got even more bad news after their impressive win over the Atlanta Falcons. The 49ers announced star defensive end Bryce Huff suffered a hamstring injury in the last 2 plays of Sunday night's game. But head coach Kyle Shanahan says the 49ers are a team that knows how to deal with injuries, especially when a defensive star is hurt.
It's definitely sucks losing Huff, but it is a hamstring, and hopefully it won't be longer than 2 weeks. So you know that he's coming back, and sooner than later.
I'm not going to call it devastating or anything like that, but it absolutely, it's another shovel full of things that you'd rather not be dealing with.
Yeah, the 49ers will play the Houston Texans this Sunday. You'll be able to see that game right here with us on KTVU Fox 2 at 10 a.m.
We now know who will face the Dodgers in the World Series after a dramatic home run shifted the scene in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series.
The 1-0 pitch. High fly ball. Left field. Arozarena watches it go.
Can I tell you, I made pizza last night. We watched this game together.
Did you really?
Yes, we
Okay.
did. The Toronto Blue Jays trailed the Seattle Mariners 3-1 in the 7th inning. With 2 runners on base, George Springer delivered a moment that will forever be etched in Blue Jays history. The clutch hit gave Toronto a one-run lead. Seattle was not able to claw back. The win sends the Blue Jays to the World Series for the first time in 32 years. Let us watch the World Series together right here on KTVU Fox 2. Game 1 between the Toronto Blue Jays and Los Angeles Dodgers Friday in Toronto. Pre-game show starts at 4 p.m. First pitch is at 5.
All right. Time is 7:50. Are we going to go to James Torres? Oh, we're going to go to weather right now.
Surprise.
Steve, they want to do weather because it looks so nice in that picture that they pulled up.
Well, give me a second here.
Okay, take your time.
I'll load some stuff up for y'all. All right. 3, 2, 1. Take it. There it is. All right. We have clear skies except on the coast where there's some fog that's come back. 40s, 50s on the temps. We're running a little cooler here, no doubt about it. East Bay temps, except for Orinda, Kensington, and El Cerrito, which still get that little east wind. Look at the difference between Lafayette and the one in Orinda. Walnut Creek, Alamo, Danville, Dublin, 40s. You had Blackhawk, 62. Clayton's down to 51. That's a big drop from yesterday. And 52 in Pittsburgh. So there are some noticeable differences here. 20s, 30s up in the mountains. 27 Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, 28. The low is off the coast. Fog is racing up the coast. The bases are really shallow, but that low is going to enhance the fog, and it will produce a big cool down for us starting tomorrow. Maybe some drizzle. Could be a few little guy showers there, especially Santa Cruz Mountain, San Jose South. I think we're on the northern edge of that system. But the system coming in for the weekend will be a different ballgame. It does look like rain about San Francisco, Oakland, Concord north is the line, kind of around there. Far more to the north, much less, if any, to the south is the way it looks. One more nice warm day. They are looking for fog on the coast. That's about the only place it is, though. Not inland, so we'll go 60s to almost 80 here. Tomorrow, though, get ready for a big cool down drop. Temperatures coming down, and they'll stay a little bit on the nicer side through Friday. Then looks like some rain moves in on Saturday.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time is 7:52. The White House hits a roadblock in the effort to get top universities to agree to its terms. Up next at 8, why a group of colleges are saying no to the Trump administration, even though millions in federal funding is on the line. And lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs plan to appeal his conviction and his 4-year prison sentence on charges of sex trafficking, but he may have found another way to possibly be released from prison. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. It's now 7:55. Demolition has begun at the White House to make way for a new $250 million ballroom. Excavators started tearing down parts of the east wing of the White House. Look at your screen. President Trump says the ballroom is privately funded. No taxpayer money will be used in the construction. The White House says it'll be a space to host state visits and large gatherings. It's due to be completed in early 2029, just before the end of President Trump's current term. Well, President Trump is reportedly considering commuting the prison sentence of Sean Diddy Combs as early as this week. TMZ is pointing to a high-ranking White House official who claims the president is considering taking that action, but has not made a decision yet. Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced to 4 years in prison earlier this month on prostitution-related charges. He's been in federal custody since he was arrested last year. Lawyers for Combs filed a notice in court signaling they will appeal his conviction. Well, the Trump administration wants to pivot away from its dependence on China's rare earth minerals. President Trump hosted Australia's prime minister at the White House. They signed a new deal, increasing Australian rare earth exports to the U.S.
Australia is really going to be helpful in the effort to take the global economy and make it less risky, less exposed to the kind of rare earth extortion that we're seeing from the Chinese.
President Trump has been sending signals he wants to reduce trade tensions with China. He's expected to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea sometime this weekend. A proposed 100% tariff on Chinese exports still set to take effect November 1st. Well, national life expectancy is bouncing back towards pre-pandemic levels after the big drop during the height of the COVID epidemic. But there's a far more disturbing trend, and it's lurking right beneath the surface. Overall, humans are living almost 20 years longer than they did back in 1950. But an emerging crisis of rising death rates among adolescents and young adults raising major concerns among medical professionals. Now, just hours ago, earlier this morning, we talked to Fox Medical Team's Dr. Mike about what is driving this alarming trend.
Lots of cancers are not screened, about 70%. You know, we do our mammograms and colonoscopies and all of that. But wouldn't it be great if there was a blood test that could find not only cancers like stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, find it early and have it be accurate? And so that's where we're headed with this. And this study looking at Gallery, which is one of a number of these types of tests, is available, not cheap, not covered by insurance, but something that I think is going to be coming down the road to a doctor's office, healthcare provider's office near you.
Now, researchers also say many of the deaths were preventable, including ones linked to suicide, drugs, and alcohol.
Well, Palo Alto green lights a number of new rules to curb homelessness. The changes the city is making that will impact those who live in RVs and park on public streets. Plus,
to purchase more food than we ever had before, just to meet our demand.
a scramble to keep families in need fed, how some California food banks are managing to keep their services running, and no deal with the White House in exchange for funding advantages, why a group of top universities are not taking up the president's offer, risking a loss of funds in return.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. You look live across the Oakland estuary. The sun is coming up. You can see the glow reflecting off of the ships there in the distance and the buildings as well. The question is, do we have a repeat performance today that we had this weekend and yesterday? Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Gassia Mikaeli, and it's Tuesday, October 1st. I was just getting another glimpse of the sunshine behind us on the estuary, Steve Paulson. I'm guessing tomorrow at this time it'll look different.
I think it'll be overcast. We get one more nice day inland, but coast and Golden Gate Bridge has fog right underneath the span. There's a lot there, but if you're inland, you don't have to worry about it. Temperatures are 40s to 50s, although the city is stuck at 59, the warmest by far here. But there is some fog moving up the coast, and some on the western edge of the city, more so towards the San Mateo, Santa Cruz area, taking the turn at Point Reyes. So it'll be nice inland, but I don't think it'll be as nice as we had on Monday. So 70s, upper 70s to near 80. Then tomorrow will be a big drop from that low, heading towards the central California coast. So one more warm day or nice day, at least inland coast, a little different there. Won't be as nice as yesterday, although there's still sun, but it won't be as warm. Temperatures anywhere from 70 to almost 80 degrees. James Torres is here. It's 8:01. Better, worse, same. Where are we going?
I think we're just about the same. Steve, you know, you and I have the same cameras sometimes. So
that's true.
I always get a little nervous that you're about to show us this. When you mentioned the Golden Gate Bridge, I thought, no! But thankfully, you didn't have to do it, so I will do it for you here. Look at that beautiful fog that's hovering just under it. This is a computer screensaver here. All of that also to show you that traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge, not that bad right now. And it usually really isn't during the morning, going up and down Marin County and San Francisco. But let's talk about what we're seeing all throughout the Bay Area, because we are seeing some slowdowns everywhere else. I was bragging about the peninsula because 280 and 101 hadn't seen much trouble, but now we have a crash and a stalled car on the northbound side, or rather southbound side of 101, just passed through Brisbane. And I think people know that right away because 280 is already backed up too. So keep that in mind if that is part of your commute. Also some trouble all morning long on the San Mateo Bridge, headed in the San Mateo direction. I think people caught wind of that too, because now the Dumbarton westbound is also seeing quite a bit of a slowdown this morning too. Here's a live look at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Things aren't getting any easier there. 8:02, we'll head back to Gassi on the desk.
Thank you, James. A crucial vote in Palo Alto last night concerning recreational vehicles. People who live there say they're fed up with the number of RVs and the state of those RVs.
KTVU's Tori Gaines is live this morning from Palo Alto with details. Tori.
Good morning, guys. We have all seen RV living pretty consistently across many parts of the Bay Area due to the high housing costs we have here. Right now, we're on Park Boulevard, less than a mile away from Stanford University. Now, folks in this neighborhood say the RV situation has become dire, but one Palo Alto City Council member says he thinks Stanford should be a bigger part of the housing conversation.
We have, I've heard extensively that there are many nurses that are residing in RVs that work at Stanford Hospital. Stanford should be brought to the table, and Stanford has land. We are desperate for land.
Limitations. The basic premise here would...
Now, last night, the Palo Alto City Council voted unanimously to move forward with some key changes in the city. Now, the first will be an ordinance to prohibit street parking of inoperable vehicles on public streets. They also want to take steps to keep what they call van lords from renting out public parking spaces. Now, ahead of the vote, many community members detailed the unsanitary or unsafe conditions that they have been dealing with and have been arising due to the RVs in their neighborhoods.
People in the Ventura neighborhood where I've lived for the last 21 years, the streets are full of not only the RVs, but the sewage and the waste. And when your children look at you and your daughter looks you in the eye and says, "Dad, I'm scared to walk down Park Boulevard by myself," what do I say to them?
Now, even though the City Council did pass this vote unanimously last night, it could still be months before we actually see any changes implemented and before neighbors feel any kind of relief. We're going to be reaching out to neighbors today, seeing if they'll talk to us about their experience. We're live this morning in Palo Alto. Tori Gaines, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Tori, thank you. Time now is 8:04 in Daly City. A woman is now recovering from what her family says was an unprovoked attack while she was on the way home from work. Nicole Malouf had just finished her shift last week when she stopped by a 24-hour Nation's Giants Hamburgers located at Westlake Shopping Center around 11:30 p.m. Thursday night. And that is when a man started punching her over and over and then ran off. Police were called to the scene after the incident. Malouf was rushed to a hospital.
You know, she's a little scared. You know, even when I was at the hospital with her, she says to me, she goes, "Auntie Trey," she goes, "I'm glad you're here." I go, "Yeah, there's no way I wouldn't be." And she says, "You know, I really wish my mom was here."
Well, Malouf suffered an orbital fracture. She can't open her eye. She has a swollen chin and more. Police say they've arrested a suspect. The victim just graduated from culinary school earlier this month and does not have health insurance. Her family has since started a GoFundMe page to help her pay off her recovery bills.
8:05 now. As the government shutdown continues, food banks are experiencing increased demand as federal workers seek assistance and the holidays are approaching. Governor Newsom is warning SNAP benefits may go away in California starting in November because of the shutdown. Food banks say the increased need is the effect of a year marked by federal funding cuts.
We expect that number to continue to increase. To compound that effect, the government shutdown right now, it means that federal employees in our area, of which there are thousands, are not receiving paychecks, and they may turn to us for assistance as well.
We've had to purchase more food than we ever had before just to meet our demand. Over $100,000 has come out of our donation general fund just to keep up with the demand. So we've never had to do that before.
Over 5 million people are on SNAP and CalFresh benefits across California.
Well, South Bay Democratic lawmakers are warning that the shutdown could lead to a health care crisis in California. They say hundreds of thousands of people who get their insurance through the Affordable Care Act or Covered California will see skyrocketing premiums if the stalemate continues for much longer. They hope that one of the longest shutdowns in U.S. history will soon come to an end.
I've had conversations with more than a dozen Republicans in the last few days. I understand that some of them do want to see these tax credits extended. So let's figure out how we can get there.
Those lawmakers also reminding everyone that open enrollment for Covered California starts on November 1st and runs through January 31st.
The government shutdown appears to be speeding up the Trump administration's work in shutting down the U.S. Department of Education. The federal agency has now stopped most of its work, which includes handing out federal funds to state and local school districts and enforcing federal special education and civil rights laws. The Trump administration has also laid off more than 460 Education Department employees after the department eliminated half its workforce in March.
At 8:07 now, the Trump administration is getting pushback from the universities that tried to pressure into certain deals. 6 of the 9 schools asked to sign an agreement in exchange for funding have now rejected that offer. That includes USC, Brown, Dartmouth, MIT, and more. Some university presidents say the agreement proposal violates academic freedom and how federal funding is meant to be distributed by merit. Leaders at the University of Arizona and Vanderbilt University said they were open to more discussion with the Trump administration.
Happening today, California's Secretary of State will host a virtual meeting to discuss the state's updated plan for the special election, now 2 weeks from today. Ballots are already being returned across the state. Shirley Weber says employees at election offices statewide are now working around the clock, so they're ready for the count on November 4th. She says they're making sure statewide voting for Prop 50 is safe, secure, and easy for everyone in California who is eligible to cast a ballot.
So Prop 50 is the only measure on that statewide ballot coming up next month. Dozens of people opposed to Proposition 50 drove their cars through the streets of Campbell yesterday evening before attending a rally. It would redraw California's congressional maps to secure 5 more House seats for Democrats.
50 passes, which I hope it doesn't. We're going to fight till the end. We may lose the battle with California, but not necessarily the war.
Republicans feel like there's really no representation. It's a one-party state. They have a supermajority. They can pass anything they want. So we feel largely ignored because of the way the political system is here.
Well, supporters of Prop 50 say the ballot measure is designed to counter similar map redrawing efforts benefiting Republicans in Texas. Yesterday was the deadline for people in California to register to vote in next month's special election.
8:09 your time this morning. Traffic is really not easing up too much here. Let's first take you up to the North Bay and talk about the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. That's probably the one spot that has eased up. We had pretty much stop and go traffic there. For the most part, more stop than go. And now we're seeing it move along a little bit better than it did just about 2 hours ago. Still moving a little bit slow, but certainly better than what it was earlier this morning. And then we have all the way in the East Bay, so much going on. You see all the icons, you see all the reds, the yellows, not a lot of green to show for you this morning. And that's just because we have so much congestion in every direction, from Pleasanton to Oakland to Richmond, down to Hayward, Union City, Fremont, and even down into the South Bay. That Silicon Valley commute also moving along pretty slowly this morning. All of that for you to keep in mind before you head out the door. Here's a live look outside, 280 in San Jose, usually not too busy of a highway. But there on your right-hand side of the screen, you see that's moving along pretty slowly, too, as the far 2 lanes try to look to exit. A little bit of a backup there. The Bay Bridge Toll Plaza really hasn't been easing up either. There's still a slowdown on the bridge itself and at the toll plaza It's going to take you quite a little bit to get from the East Bay into San Francisco. Time now, 8:10. We'll head back to Andre on the desk.
All right, James, thank you. An emotional plea in Vallejo, the district considering whether to close several schools. We hear from teachers as leaders get closer to announcing their decision.
An almost universal experience among California teens and young adults. Nearly all those surveyed say they're dealing with challenges to their mental health, what's most often causing extreme stress.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes, your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
(8:14), some of the stories we're following this morning. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel trying to stabilize the ceasefire deal made with Gaza a few weeks ago. The Vice President and Second Lady, Usha Vance, arrived today at Ben Gurion Airport. The visit, part of a push by the Trump administration to be in talks for a long-term plan to end the war between Israel and Hamas. Here at home, people in the South Bay plan to protest outside the Santa Clara County main jail today. The group will urge the Board of Supervisors to reject a plan by the Sheriff's Department to arm all deputies with tasers. The consideration comes after a 6-month pilot program that armed some deputies in the jail with tasers. Civil rights activists argue that tasers could end up being used on people with mental health issues.
California is supporting Illinois' battle over the National Guard. Governor Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta filing an amicus brief in the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing the deployment of federal troops to Los Angeles that began in June is a, quote, alarming expansion of federal power. The brief also revealed the deployment in L.A. has been extended to February.
A new study reveals widespread mental health issues among California youth and young adults. The report from Blue Shield of California and Children Now finds 94% of young people ages 14 to 25 say they have regular mental health challenges. Key stressors include major societal concerns such as housing affordability, gun violence, and climate change. A third said they felt too embarrassed to seek professional help. 2/3 of those polled say they're trying to remain optimistic.
At 8:16 now, the Vallejo City Unified School District is hearing from teachers and community members about the district's plan to close schools and consolidate some schools. The district hosted a town hall meeting last night to discuss the 7 schools that are under review for possible closure. Leaders cite declining enrollment and growing budget shortfall as a reason for the proposed cuts. But one longtime Vallejo teacher says she is concerned these cuts could lead to chaos in the classroom.
I've been at 6 different school sites with this district. I have survived the school's closure. I have survived consolidation. I have been reduction in force 7 or 8 times. Okay, maybe only 6 or 7. I have been transferred because of those things.
Many parents at last night's town hall meeting had those same concerns. The school board is scheduled to announce its decision by December. Any closure or consolidation would take effect in the 26-27 academic year.
In Santa Clara County, community leaders cut the ribbon on a project designed to give critical resources to foster youth once they're out of the system. The Parkmore Community Apartments will provide housing and other help to people in the foster care system and beyond. It features the Hub, which is something of a one-stop shop that includes mental health services, legal aid, parenting classes, a tech lab, and a workspace.
As you can tell, this is more than just an apartment building to me and a community. I truly love being part of a community where I can connect with others, meet new people, and make genuine friends in my own environment.
To me, the Hub means community, connection, and a place where I feel truly like I belong.
The Hub moved into this new space from a previous location where it served about 300 foster youth every month. 40 units at the Parkmore are set aside for former foster youth.
Get you ready to get out the door this morning. Time now is 8:17. Let's take you live out to the East Shore Freeway where we see traffic moving along for the most part just perfectly fine. The westbound side is moving slowly. Lots of cars on the roadway here, but that shouldn't be much trouble to offer you this morning. Take you out to 24 Lafayette, moving along just okay. That sun shining real bright on us this morning. Looks very beautiful in all of our pictures. The Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, again, reflecting some of that sun on those shiny cars. Has a little bit of a backup, and that hasn't really changed for the last few hours here. From this point on, to get into downtown San Francisco might take you about 45 minutes. So keep that in mind before you head out the door today. But plenty of sunshine over here at the Golden Gate Bridge with the fog hovering just under it. And that takes us right over to Steve Paulson, who has a look at the weather for today and the rest of the week and says that we have one more warm day coming up, Steve.
That is low fog when it's beneath the span. Yes, we have one more nice day away from the coast. On the coast, there's some fog, but again, the bases are really down there. But it'll be cooler there. 50s, 40s, 50s on the temps. We had a lot more 60s at this time yesterday, so we are running a little cooler than 24 hours ago. Colder up in the mountains, Truckee, South Lake Tahoe in the 20s, South Tourist also in there. Same for Ely and Winnemucca. Reno at 34. Fog moving up the coast, but again, it's south to north, not making much of a west to east push unless you're down towards Monterey. But overall, we'll have lots of sunshine. That's the source of our cool down tomorrow. A little low there. That'll increase the low cloud deck, onshore breeze. Could be a couple garden variety showers. I just think we're probably on the northern edge of it. I'll mention it for Santa Cruz Mountains, San Jose South, but I think it's going to be more than really just probably drizzle, but it's possible tomorrow. Then all eyes will be on a system coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. A couple of forecast models are on the drier side. Most, though, do bring some rain in about San Francisco, Oakland, Concord, north. So if you're north, much better opportunity. If you're south, maybe nothing at all. It's kind of the way it looks Saturday, maybe late Sunday or Monday. One more nice, warm day. Some coast fog, though. Otherwise, it's clear. We're good to go. 60s, 70s near the water. Upper 70s to near 80. Inland tomorrow, though, big cool down. A little bit better Thursday, Friday. Then here's your change for the weekend.
Thank you, Steve.
And for our first order of business.
Well, the celebration of Diwali in Richmond takes on its own flair. How one East Bay rapper is honoring the Hindu Festival of Lights with city leaders. Bay Area events shine brightly to mark Diwali. Richmond celebrated the start of the Hindu Festival of Lights with a message from the mayor alongside rapper Fijiana.
As an Indo-Fijian artist who grew up in this city, I've seen how powerful it is when cultures and communities come together. Happy Diwali, Richmond.
Richmond.
And
welcome to the Bay.
Well, millions of people around the world are ringing in Diwali, including at fireworks celebrations in India. California recently made Diwali an official state holiday starting next year. All right, 8:23. Good news for General Motors and Coca-Cola. It's helping take the markets up this morning.
And another big entertainment company may be for sale. Pam Cook has been tracking this, and she's upstairs with dollars and cents.
Yeah, this information just coming in this morning. Warner Brothers Discovery, we're talking about, confirmed it is considering its next move after receiving unsolicited interest from multiple buyers. Earlier this year, Warner Brothers announced plans to split into two separate companies, a streaming and studios business and a global networks business. On the news, that stock jumped 10% shortly after that opening bell rang this morning. General Motors stock also jumped close to 11% when the bell rang after beating analyst estimates for the quarter. GM says it still sees electric vehicles as a growth area long term and that it is working on more efficient batteries and EVs with a look and price that will attract more buyers. All right, as we take a live look at the Dow, it is up even more than in the last hour. It was up about 0.5%, now up almost 0.75%, 337 points. Coca-Cola, part of the Dow, also in with good earnings this morning. That's helping things out. The S&P 500 up slightly. The NASDAQ, though, is posting a little bit of a loss today. Amazon says all of its online services are back up and running this morning. That's following that huge outage that lasted nearly 15 hours. It affected millions of people around the world this week. Amazon was able to fix the problem after linking it to one of its data centers in Virginia. It brought down AWS, a cloud computing system that forms much of the backbone of the internet. Many other websites and apps stopped working, including Zoom, Slack, Venmo, and Reddit. Yelp is rolling out an AI-powered update that enhances how users find and interact with local businesses. Key features include an updated AI assistant capable of answering specific questions about restaurants, local attractions, and more, pulling in data from reviews and photos. Another cool capability allows the AI to scan restaurant menus and then show you exactly what the dishes look like, maybe specific things you're looking for on a menu. Yelp says it wants to create an entirely seamless experience for finding businesses. And Starbucks is bringing back one of its most popular promotions. Starbucks announced its annual Red Cup Day will be November 13th. Customers can get that free reusable holiday cup with the purchase of a holiday drink. Starbucks says extra baristas will be there in the stores that day to provide a better experience. The holiday cup will be available until those supplies last. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
All right, Pam, thank you. The Warriors regular season tipping off tonight while they play in Los Angeles. We'll show you how to support the team here at home with other fans.
Super Bowl 60 inching closer. Who will take the stage in San Francisco the night before the big game? Between Super Bowl, March Madness, and the World Cup, sports fans across the world will be focused on the Bay Area this year. How businesses and leaders are working to make sure the most of the region's time in the limelight. Then.
It's tough right now. I mean, you see restaurants closing down every day. It's we're just hanging in there, hoping for a change.
Diwali lights dimmed by tariffs. Why many business owners are now worried higher import taxes could lower their profits.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
We're glad you're here. Good morning. I'm Gaskia Mikaelian.
Well, Andre Sr., today's Tuesday, October 21st. If you liked yesterday and this weekend, get ready for more and enjoy, too, because who knows how long it'll last. Steve Paulson here with more.
Well, I got my Golden Gate Bridge shot. James Torres stole it.
Oh,
so I went in and gave Kevin Pender an earful. And thank you, Kevin, for dialing that up. He's a mate for 30 years. All right, here we go. There you go. See, now some of it's on the span. I love that. That is a screensaver shot, as James said. So some fog has returned. The bases are shallow, but it will make a difference on the coast. Teeny bit kind of snaking its way around, maybe around the Marin Headlands, but 40s, 50s on the Thames. The city's been stuck at 59. Normal's 54. This will really only impact areas near the coast. Inland, I still think it'll be above average warm, but probably not as warm as yesterday. So Napa, Oakland, Redwood City, San Jose. I think about 2, 3 o'clock we'll see this onshore breeze kick in, and that should cut it off as far as the temperatures warming up as much as yesterday. And that low west-southwest of us will be here tomorrow for a big cool down. And then on the weekend, it does look like a lot of clouds and some rain. But one more nice to warm day inland, not as nice on the coast. I mean, it'll still be okay, but just not as nice as yesterday when the coast was clear. That's not the case today. 70 to near 80 degrees. Speaking of, here he is, James Torres. You were right. That was a great shot.
Yeah, let me rearrange my playlist here.
Yeah, would you please?
Good morning to you. Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour, bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Now, let's talk about the traffic that we have going on here, because the picture I have is much uglier than the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, we have red, yellow, all over the place, much more than green, because we have tiny little traffic incidents and crashes every direction all over the Bay Area. This is a nasty Tuesday, and it's been this way since early in the morning, so it's not really going to get much better in the next hour or two. So just keep that in mind before you head out the door here. This is the day that you want to work early, and at least get on the road early, because some of these patterns have been kind of sticking. Let's take a look at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. That's been slow all morning long. It has been extending out to the MacArthur Maze, probably past it. Right now, it'll take you at least 45 minutes to get from this spot into downtown San Francisco. 8:31. We'll go back to Gassia on the desk.
Thank you, James. The San Jose Chamber of Commerce and the Bay Area Host Committee are meeting right now.
They're discussing the global impacts on hosting the Super Bowl and FIFA World Cup. Those two big events take place in the Bay Area next year. KTVU's Deborah Truby is live in San Jose for us this morning with much more. Good morning to you, Deborah.
Yeah, good morning, Andre. The event underway right now as they're talking about doing what no one else has done. Back to back. We're, of course, talking about coming up here in November, the National Women's Soccer League Championship, then the Super Bowl 60 in February, followed by March Madness in March, and then the FIFA World Cup in June and July. Talking about today, infrastructure as well as having the right resources in place. We spoke with the Chamber of Commerce president about getting those infrastructure goals ready, and she said, yes, it is incredibly difficult and requires a lot of coordination. While the Super Bowl will be played in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium, there will be multiple events in San Francisco. We asked about how the chamber is making sure the South Bay stays in the spotlight.
We will be putting out a media campaign. It is fly here, stay here, play here, and we're really excited to be working with our partners to ensure that we are a very active, vibrant, and fun place to be during all of those events.
We also spoke with her about President Trump's remarks about taking large events away from cities he feels are not safe. She said Trump does not have the authority to move a FIFA event. This is the third of 4 gatherings like this year. The topic, of course, specialized to sports as they prepare to put San Jose on the global sporting stage. Reporting live, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. 8:33 is your time. One of the country music's biggest stars will headline a concert series leading up to February Super Bowl at Levi Stadium. The Bay Area Host Committee just announced the concert series to be held in the days before the big game, and one of the headliners is country star Chris Stapleton. The 11-time Grammy winner will headline the final show of the concert series the night before the Super Bowl at Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. Additional artists scheduled to perform will be announced in the coming weeks. And this morning we're asking, do you plan to take part in the Super Bowl and World Cup events? Your options: can't wait or no, not for me. 70% say not for me. 30% say can't wait. Scan the QR code top right-hand corner of your screen and go to ktvu.com/vote.
We are now in the 5-day Diwali festival observed by Indian communities around the world. Some people who celebrate what's known as the Festival of Lights say events are being impacted by tariffs. The holiday focuses on food, family, and gifts. Imports from India are now facing higher tariffs, and many of the traditional foods and features of Diwali are getting more expensive. Earlier this year, the Trump administration issued tariffs of up to 50% on imports from India. Some South Asian stores and grocers have been working to limit price increases, but say they can't hold off much longer.
Emails going out soon here. There's nothing I can do. I got to go with it. I got to just pray, pray for a change, and everybody's trying to survive.
We haven't really seen that big impact right now because maybe some of the shops are still using the stocks that they have already. So it is definitely impacting our lives.
Higher prices are also impacting prices of staples such as rice, spices, and sweets. The price of lanterns used during Diwali celebrations has jumped as much as 20%. Happening today, Senate Republicans will meet with President Trump to discuss the federal government shutdown. This comes one day after Senate Democrats rejected Republicans' short-term spending bill for the 11th time. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says his conversation with the president today will focus on the Democrats' demand for more subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, the main issue in the shutdown.
I'm happy to have the conversation about the unaffordability of Obamacare and what we might be able to do to fix that, but you can't do that while the government is being held hostage.
Democratic leaders say they want President Trump to play a far more aggressive role in ending the shutdown. They say the president needs to convince Republican leaders to cut a deal to reopen the government. Meanwhile, several Head Start programs are at risk of shutting down if the federal government doesn't reopen soon. The early education program, which serves low-income families, is almost entirely funded by the federal government. New grants are now on hold. Some child care centers already missed payments on October 1st. More than 130 others could lose funding by November 1st, potentially impacting more than 65,000 children nationwide, including some here in the Bay Area.
Well, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie is pushing back on President Trump's threat to deploy National Guard troops in San Francisco. It comes after the president pushed again for the idea in an interview over the weekend, even suggesting he could invoke the Insurrection Act if needed. Mayor Lurie issued a long statement on social media, and though he did not mention the president's name, he did make it clear he does not want federal troops patrolling city streets.
To continue getting fentanyl off the street, we would welcome stronger coordination with the FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. Attorney to execute targeted operations to arrest drug dealers and to disrupt markets and multinational cartels. But the National Guard does not have the authority to arrest drug dealers, and sending them to San Francisco will do nothing to get fentanyl off the streets, nor will it make our city safer.
Recent data from the city shows overall crime is down in San Francisco. A federal appeals court has cleared the way for President Trump to deploy National Guard troops across Oregon. The Ninth Circuit panel lifted a lower court order that had blocked that move, saying judges must give great deference to the president's decisions on national security. Oregon's governor and attorney general called the ruling dangerous, warning it gives the president unchecked power to send troops into the state.
An update now on the unexpected death of a former NFL running back, Doug Martin, in Oakland last past weekend. Oakland police now say Martin broke into his neighbor's home early Saturday morning in the Chabot Park neighborhood up above the hills near the zoo. The homeowner called police. We've also learned Martin's mother called 911, saying her son was experiencing a medical emergency. Officers found Martin inside his neighbor's home before getting into a struggle. Sources tell KTVU Martin became unresponsive in the back of the police car. He was taken to a hospital where he died. A neighbor says she was shocked to learn Martin was a former NFL player.
Just makes it, more tragic that someone who has a successful career and is a mentor in a mentor's position.
Martin's family released a statement that said he'd battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Martin played in the NFL for several years, finishing his career with the Oakland Raiders in the 2018-2019 season. An Oakland father continues his legacy of spreading hope following his young daughter's death. Donald Lacey led a candlelight vigil last night in honor of 16-year-old Louise Lacey. His daughter was killed in a shooting on that street corner 28 years ago. Louise means love life in a Nigerian language. The city adopted the phrase as its official motto in 2016. He told us he's carrying on his daughter's desire to bring peace to the world with a foundation for at-risk youth.
In 28 years of doing this work, I've met so many incredible young black children who've gone on to be adults, who've gone on to graduate from college, go on and have careers, their own businesses. So I feel blessed that my daughter's spirit has started this movement in the city of Oakland.
City leaders also announced Love Life Week will include events such as a community cleanup and a forum on violence against women.
Love Life Week reminds us that even in times of struggle, Oakland's greatest strength is our resilience. And it's that same resilience that I felt in my own life that helped me get through losing both of my parents. Oakland has shown me how love and community can help heal heartbreak.
There's also a comedy jam on Saturday. Louise's father says she loved to laugh.
Well, cars are essential for many people, but many cannot keep up with the rising payments. We talk with an economist about why delinquencies are climbing across the country.
Some stories we're following here at 8:43. Vice President J.D. Vance arrived in Israel today to meet with leaders there. It's the latest effort from the Trump administration to help make sure a fragile ceasefire deal in Gaza continues. The truce is already under a lot of strain. Vance's visit is meant to be a warning to the two countries. Both say they're committed to the deal, even though there has been violence in the past couple of days. Here at home, the law enforcement certification of former San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus has been suspended. The Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training cited her removal amid allegations of abuse of power. San Mateo County supervisors removed her from office last week. A retired judge reviewing her case determined Corpus had a conflict of interest with her former chief of staff and retaliated against staffers. The Palo Alto City Council decided to move ahead with a plan to restrict RV parking on city streets. Several council members pointed to a big surge in the number of people living in RVs. The $6.5 million plan calls for aggressive street cleaning and making it illegal to rent out a public parking space for an RV. The proposal would create more safe parking spaces for people living in RVs.
Well, more Americans are falling behind on their car payments. It's a warning sign that financial stress is growing for working families. Delinquencies on subprime auto loans are near record highs, even as the broader economy looks strong. Gustavo Flores Macias, Dean of the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland, is here to help us understand what this all means. Gustavo, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
All right, so Gustavo, can you kind of let us understand here, how pronounced is this issue of missing car payments and its potential effects on the economy?
Absolutely. Right now, it's not a major concern, but we're definitely seeing signs of weakening of the economy in the car sector, which can be an early indicator of a broader behavior in the economy. It's something that economists are definitely paying attention to. What we're seeing is the combination of prices going up. People are having to pay more for groceries, for cars, for fuel, et cetera. But we also then have a softening on the labor market. So some people are finding it harder and harder to meet their car payments.
So what we have, if I'm hearing this correctly, is some people are losing their jobs and can't make their payments, and with the prices of everyday items, they are making their payments late because they're paying so much for other things like groceries in the supermarket.
That's correct. Some people, if people had incurred debt from purchasing a car, and this is true, by the way, we're seeing some signs in home mortgages, for instance. There are some signs that this behavior is permeating in other sectors, not just autos. But let's say that someone bought a car and had a job at the time and is now perhaps lost the job or is finding it harder to pay because of other rising expenses in the groceries, fuel, et cetera. Those folks are now having to tap into savings if they can, but many people don't have that luxury. Many people are really struggling and falling behind in their payments. Again, the prices, I think in part we're seeing some of the effects of tariffs that are now starting to materialize after a lag. But the softening of economic activity is especially affecting some sectors. So, some underrepresented groups are finding it harder to find another job if they lose the one they currently have.
And that is definitely one of the signs many look out for. What demographic is being affected the most here? This research found that low-income families are affected, but it also found that higher credit scores, people with higher credit scores also show strain here. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I think, for the most part, it's people in the lower echelons, the folks that are struggling the most. And, it's true that we see at the luxury end a little bit of this as well in the luxury market, the luxury part of the market. But for the most part, this is something that we're seeing, again, not only in the auto sector, but more consistently across the economy for the lower echelons of the income distribution.
Gustavo, what should people do as we're looking at these clues to what is ahead here? People paying more for these groceries and some people losing their jobs. What should people know and how should they prepare themselves?
Yeah. I think this can be disconcerting because, we see macroeconomic figures showing that the economy keeps going and GDP keeps growing and the stock market is doing well. But again, for these sectors, it's not like they're benefiting necessarily from the stock market, and it can be really disheartening to find themselves in delinquency of debt. I think it's a time that to be conservative in terms of expenditures, if one can sort of figure out what is strictly necessary. I know that this is difficult for many because some people are really living paycheck to paycheck. Right. But to the extent that one can, to try to be conservative in those expenditures and looking really for sort of a planning before entering one of these transactions of the purchase of a vehicle, just making sure that there's a bit of a cushion in case one loses one's job.
At the very least, become aware of what you're spending and, and start from there. Gustavo Flores Macias, Dean of the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland, thank you for joining us this morning and providing your insight.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
8:49, the Golden State Warriors regular season tips off tonight. The team's on the road to take on the Los Angeles Lakers, but there is a watch party tonight at Thrive City. The game will be on the big screen. There'll be live music, outdoor games, photo opportunities, and giveaways. Pre-game festivities start at 5:30. Tip-off set for 7.
And that is something the Niners really did not need. The already banged-up team got more bad news following their impressive victory over the Atlanta Falcons. The team announced yesterday star defensive end Bryce Huff suffered a hamstring injury during last 2 plays of Sunday night's game. But Coach Kyle Shanahan says the Niners are a team that knows how to deal with injuries, especially when a defensive star gets hurt.
It's definitely sucks losing Huff, but it is a hamstring, and hopefully it won't be longer than 2 weeks. So you know that he's coming back, and sooner than later.
I'm not going to call it devastating or anything like that, but it absolutely, it's another shovel full of things that you'd rather not be dealing with.
Well, the Niners are still having a successful season despite all these injuries. They're tied for first place with the LA Rams in the NFC West ahead of Sunday's game against the Houston Texans in Texas. And you can see that game right here on KTVU Fox 2, 10 a.m.
We now know who'll face the Dodgers in the World Series after a dramatic home run shifted the scene in Game 7 of the ALCS.
The 1-0 pitch. High fly ball. Left field. Arozarena watches it go.
The Toronto Blue Jays trailed the Seattle Mariners 3-1 in the 7th inning of this winner-take-all game. With runners on, George Springer delivered a moment that'll forever be etched in Blue Jays history. The clutch hit gave Toronto a 1-run lead, and Seattle was not able to claw it back. The win sends the Blue Jays to the World Series for the first time in 32 years. We can all watch the entire World Series together right here on KTVU Fox 2. Game 1 between the Toronto Blue Jays and Los Angeles Dodgers this Friday in Toronto. Pre-game show starts at 4. The first pitch is at 5.
8:51, traffic is starting to get a little bit lighter, but that's only a little bit from a really heavy traffic day. Let's talk about what we're seeing this morning. The Benicia Bridge was a problem for much of the morning. It's not anymore, but move over to Little East Bay Point, having some trouble and some slowdowns. Westbound going through Pittsburgh on Highway 4, accident reported there. Some slowdowns along Concord, Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek along 680. And then zoom out a little more, you see trouble pretty much everywhere. The Richmond-San Rafael Bridge has a slowdown. San Mateo Bridge has a slowdown, Dumbarton, and then 101, 280 in San Francisco and the Peninsula, all with plenty of red. We'll show you the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. That hasn't offered much of relief so far this morning. Still takes you about 30 to 40 minutes to get from the East Bay to downtown San Francisco. And alas, we show you my favorite shot of the morning, the Golden Gate Bridge. That fog slowly moving up there, and not too much traffic and trouble if you're going up and down from San Francisco to Marin County. 8:52. Steve Paulson, tell me I didn't steal your thunder.
You did not. Not at all. Not a problem there. Thank you. Yesterday, if you thought it was nice, man, it must be in the 80s. You were right. San Jose, Redwood City, Napa, Santa Rosa, Oakland, Livermore, Concord, and San Rafael, all between 81 and 83 warm degrees. Don't think so today. It's just smidge cool. There was no fog yesterday. There was definitely fog there, even though the bases are shallow. We'll still go 80, 76, 78, and 79. I think about 2, 3 o'clock, that sea breeze is going to kick in. 78 in the city yesterday. I went 70 today. It's always a tough call. 59 low. That's 5 above the average, 54. The records have a long history here. 89, 1929 on the high side. 47, 1892 on the low, and 2.06 fell on this date way back in 1858. At the surface, there's still a slight east-northeast breeze. You can see that from land to sea, going right back over to the coast, although it's not as pronounced as yesterday. Yet you get up at 850 millibars, 5,000 feet. That's a south wind. So some areas of the city, one observation, has turned westerly. Still a north-northeast or north for most, but I think this is a sign of things to come this afternoon. Now, we'll take you along the 80 corridor, El Sobrante, Pinole, Hercules, Crockett, Vallejo. At 2 o'clock today, they're all showing an east wind. Watch what happens between 2 and 4. Oops, just turned south, southwest. So I think we'll warm up to around 2:30, and then just like that, that sea breeze will kick in, and we will be significantly cooler tomorrow as this upper low approaches us. 50s on most of the temps. We were much warmer than this for some yesterday. 20s and 30s up in the mountains, even 30s in Reno, 31 Mount Shasta. Looks good, except for that fog near the coast. That's the source of our cool down for tomorrow. Could be some light scattered showers. I would think so south of San Jose. I think this is a little far north, more likely down towards Hollister south. Kind of looks to be the theme, but this will give us a big cool down tomorrow. And then we'll get an okay Thursday, Friday. Saturday looks to be the day when we bring in a system, and it's just too close for me to say no rain. Some of them hold it off until Sunday, but it'll be close enough. I'll deal with it on Friday, but that's the way it looks. One more nice warm day, unless you're over by the coast, then maybe not as warm as yesterday. 60s, 70s near the water, upper 70s to near 80 inland. Tomorrow, big change, cooler, a little better Thursday, Friday, then does look like clouds and some rain moving in on the weekend.
All right, Steve, a mid-air mystery sending passengers into a panic. When you join us on the 9, what slammed into the cockpit of a plane in flight that ended up injuring the pilot? It's 3 minutes to 9. Atlanta police are crediting a family's quick thinking with helping avoid a possible mass shooting. Body camera video shows officers arresting a man Monday morning inside the Atlanta International Airport. The man's family tipped off police that he was streaming on social media that he was heading to the airport to, quote, shoot it up. Police say the man was loitering near the TSA security checkpoint. Officers then found his truck parked outside the terminal, where they said they found an AR-15 rifle and 27 rounds of ammunition.
The U.S. Supreme Court will consider whether people who regularly smoke marijuana should be able to own guns. The Trump administration asked the court to revive a case against a Texas man charged with a felony because he owned a gun and admitted to using marijuana. The Justice Department argues the ban is legitimate, saying regular drug users pose a public safety risk. Arguments are expected early next year. A decision is likely by the summer.
Demolition has started at the White House to make way for a new $250 million ballroom. Excavators tore down portions of the East Wing. President Trump says that ballroom is privately funded and no taxpayer dollars will be used in the construction. The White House says it will be a space to host state visits and large gatherings. It's scheduled to be complete in early 2029, just before the end of the president's current term.
Happening today, the drawing for the Mega Millions jackpot. Tonight's drawing will be for an estimated $650 million. No one has won the jackpot since June. The odds of matching all 6 numbers, about 1 in 290 million. The current cash option would bring an immediate $304 million. Tickets are being sold until 7:45 tonight. We'll take a quick peek outside at San Francisco. It's the last day of relative warmth. We're going to see a bit of a cool down coming up in those days. The 9 starts in just 60 seconds, so stay with us.
Vice President J.D. Vance arrives in Israel this morning as the Trump administration scrambles to keep a fragile ceasefire from collapsing. While Israel and Hamas's truce is barely 2 weeks old, there are already signs of strain.
Then RVs lining the streets and frustration is boiling over. One city on the peninsula approves new rules over those living in RVs. Why changes could still be months away.
Plus, big games, big money, and big pressure. From the Super Bowl to the World Cup, how the Bay Area is bracing for millions of visitors and worldwide attention as the events could redefine the region for years to come.
Live from Chat London Square, this is Mornings on 2, the 9.
Clearing our throats as we start the 9 o'clock hour on this Tuesday, October 21st, looking live over the San Francisco Bay into Alcatraz Island. A beautiful sunny day today. We've got one more day of a decent warm weather. Steve Paulson in the Weather Center is going to tell us all about that in just a few minutes. But of course, we are in the middle of the month of October, meaning the holiday season is right around the corner, assuming you don't consider Halloween a holiday. But not everyone's excited about it. In fact, a lot of people are dreading it. A new survey finds close to half of Americans are not looking forward to the holidays, mostly because of finances. To cope with those worries, 36% of respondents will be putting a strict limit on budgeting for gifts, while many others plan to do a gift-free holiday. We welcome you here to the 9. Joining me is Garcia and Andre. I can speak a little bit to this. I'm the youngest of 9 kids. I have 8 older siblings. Almost all of them have at least 1 or 2 children. Some have 4, some have 3. You know, a lot of kids in the family. It used to be every holiday we'd buy every kid a gift, and that gets pretty pricey.
Everybody would buy for everybody?
Everybody would buy for every kid. We made it really kid-centric a couple years ago. But now we've done an internal family Secret Santa where each sibling gets 1 or 2 kids. And that way those kids still get about 1 or 2 gifts for the whole holiday from someone else outside of their immediate family. And boy, does that save hundreds of dollars.
We have been doing a Michaelian Secret Santa for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I can't believe it. As soon as I moved back.
It came out of your mouth.
I know,
You're like, wait a minute.
I remember I pitched it like right when I moved back here, and I started 20 years ago, and I pitched it, and like the first couple of years, nobody really was into it. But then over the years, we got into it. So strict $35 limit.
Yep.
You pick one name. I mean, it works. How do you? Because you have sisters, so you have siblings.
Have sisters.
How does the whole?
We don't exchange gifts like that often. You know, we get, like, we'll meet up and have experiences and do things together.
Like travel.
Yeah, we'll travel. Like we just recently traveled, so we'll do things like that with each other.
Because what do you even ask for anymore?
I don't. There's nothing. I mean, you know, another tie. I don't know. I have a closet full of those things. So I don't know. You know, I'd rather go with them, or when we go to, like, when I go visit them in the holidays, we'll go take a trip somewhere. You know, go see a waterfall.
I like that experience.
Yeah,
that's
so
nice.
That's our big thing.
Okay, I hate to hear that people are stressed because of the holidays due to money.
Yeah.
Like the holidays, it's not about money.
That's the other thing, too. Yeah, I think, personally, it's just about seeing and hanging out with my family.
I know.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Family, gratitude, reflecting on all that you have.
And if you focus on that, you may, you know, there's less stress for people that don't have
is a big chunk of people,
I know.
More than a third,
It's like, you know, all those commercials with the car with the big red bow in the driveway and all that.
I mean, come on. Seriously, it's for rich people, you know.
All right. Okay, let's move on here. Let's start our newscast by focusing on what's happening on the peninsula, as this is the first morning following a crucial vote in Palo Alto concerning recreational vehicles. Many people who live there say they're concerned about an increase in the number of people living in RVs and the state of those vehicles themselves. Let's bring in our Tori Gaines live this morning in Palo Alto to discuss the concerns. Tori.
Good morning to you, Garcia. We are here on Park Boulevard in Palo Alto, less than a mile away from the Stanford University campus. And in this area, we see several businesses, but also take a look over my shoulder. There are several recreational vehicles. You can see 3 lined up right here along the street. We counted about 10 within a couple of blocks of this area. Lots of commuters coming through this way. So we spoke with one commuter who works nearby, and he says, he walks by every day, and here's what he had to say.
Honestly, it doesn't really bother me. I feel like we have a housing crisis in the Bay Area, and I feel like RVs aren't that distracting, and it's a home for someone. And I think it's a lot better than someone living on the streets or in tents.
Limitations. The basic premise here would be that citizens need to know there are going to be trade-offs.
Late last night, the Palo Alto City Council voted unanimously to move forward with some key changes here in the city on the peninsula. The first will be an ordinance to prohibit parking of inoperable vehicles on public streets. They also want to take steps to keep what they call van lords from renting out public parking spaces. Now, ahead of the vote, community members detailed the unsanitary or sometimes unsafe conditions that have been arising due to RVs in their neighborhoods.
We do not feel safe to walk up and down Corporation Way. The